We now move on to the keynote address by Dr. Dipak Jain. Due to some personal emergency, Dr. Dipak Jain could not deliver his keynote address in person. However, he has shared with us a recorded video of his keynote address. Dr. Dipak Jain is the European President and Professor of Marketing at CEIBS. Dr. Jain's influential career spans nearly 4 decades as an educator, a senior business school administrator, and a consultant to corporations and governments. Prior to being named Assassin's Director in 2014, he served from 2011 to 2013 as Dean of INSEAD and International Business School with campuses in France, Singapore, and Abu Dhabi. Before joining INSEAD, Dr. Jain was Dean of Northwestern University's Kellogg School of Management from 2001 to 2009. Among the many distinctions for his teaching and service, Dr. Jain received the Pravasi Bharatiya Samman from the Prime Minister of India, an award that recognizes exceptional leadership contributions of overseas Indians. I will now play his keynote address.
My welcome to everyone. And in particular, let me offer my sincere gratitude to Mr. Shri Kumar and also to Vice Provost Mike Keller from Stanford. Their joint efforts has helped us create what I would think would be a world-class digital library platform. I feel very privileged to be a part of this JIO Institute because very few people in life get an opportunity to start something from ground zero. I thought I would share with you, in particular, the business trends and transformation, what we are seeing in the world, and how libraries, librarians, technologists, faculty members can prepare the leaders of the future. That's why I called my title as Business Trends and Transformation, the New Diet. Next, please. So let me explain you what I mean by the new diet. We are in this new world, and particularly post-COVID, I would say the new diet has become greater in demand. Many people go for new diet in terms of weight loss. Our new diet is in terms of intellectual curiosity and intellectual development. So my first letter D stands for digital learning. COVID has given us a real playground to practice digital learning. In the last year and a half, many schools offered programs which were driven by digital platforms, digital modules, and this is now not going to end. This is going to be a DNA of how we go for knowledge dissemination. When we look at any institution, whether it is a university or library or anything, we have a threefold mission. One is what I call knowledge creation, which comes through research, knowledge dissemination, where we go through the programs, and knowledge certification, because we universities have the privilege to offer, to certify knowledge in terms of a degree, in terms of a diploma, in terms of PhDs or whatever it is. So digital learning is going to be with us for generations to come. I stands for innovative mindset. Business as usual is not going to be the paradigm. When Mr. Shri Kumar and Mike Keller worked together, rather than going for a physical library, we thought a physical library is possible for people to come and visit. But our chairpersons, both Mr. and Mrs. Ambani, wanted to create something that would touch 1.3 billion or 1.35 billion people of India, or this would become a role model for people to think about how you can have knowledge access to a larger population. So we need to think innovatively means we need to think not what we are doing today, but what would be the practice 10 years from now, 20 years from now. And that's why my colleague, Dr. Mashilkar, always uses the term that we should not focus on what is the best practice, what would be the next practice. That's what I mean by innovative mindset. E, entrepreneurship spirit. Entrepreneurship, or I would say more entrepreneurial spirit. Entrepreneurial does not mean that you start business new. Entrepreneurial spirit to me, your willingness to take risk, your willingness to try something new. That is the paradigm today. If you look at the young generation, they are interested in taking on some new responsibilities and trying to see whether this can be implemented or at least tried. We hear success stories from successful entrepreneurs, but there are lots of people who tried something, didn't work, but their failure became the success of many other people or the success of the same entrepreneurs. They failed on something, but they improved upon it. This is something, again, a part of our DNA. And then T is talent development. JIO Institute, if you ask what business we are in the business of attracting, developing, and building human talent who would make a difference in this world. We are in the talent management business, and that's what we are looking for, and how libraries across the world can help build the right talent. So when I use the word diet, I mean we need to condition ourselves on these 4 dimensions, that we are in an era driven by digital learning, innovative mindset, entrepreneurial spirit, and focus on building the talent. Next, please. So how we use this diet on our future journey? JIO took this step of building a digital library, but more than digital library, the whole workspace today is becoming digital. Who would have imagined that a day would come when we would be connecting people all over the world? I'm here in Chicago at 6 a.m. There are people in India, there are people from other states and other places. Geography has become history in the sense that we are all connected and digitally connected, and this is going to be a part of the digital workplace. So when I say digital workplace, it means people like to have online access, global connectivity, and enhanced productivity. JIO's library framework is so strong, I don't need to come to Navi Mumbai to go to the library. Sitting in any part of the world, I can access the materials and sharpen my productivity by having access to the best knowledge sources. And I can do that online from any place in the world. That's what I mean by global connectivity. Next. As I said, entrepreneurial feeling or innovative mindset, when you think of new ideas, new practices, there may be associated risk. But to me, failure is not failing. Failure is the next step, or I would say a step towards success. What we mean by risk management is we need to think about anticipating risk. Sometimes people hear the system is down. Look at airlines. When they went through total automated systems, yes, once in a while, if the system is down, it affects all the travel. But we don't look at one such instance and not do it. We need to anticipate. We need to have tools to prepare for it, because risk mitigation, how we build risk and how we deal with risk today is very important. All my colleagues, Dr. Palak Seth, Pramod, Prerna, and all the people at JIO, we have been working on creating something, and there have been times where we have dealt with very tough headwinds. But you know, airplanes take off with headwinds. If they go in the same direction of the wind, it would be gone with the wind. Resistance are steps for success. But the most important thing is timely action. To me, procrastination is the real enemy of human thoughts. Take action, learn from it, and so that you improve your next step. Next, please. And then comes the human talent. That is our core objective, how we create leaders of the future. Library to me has been a very big factor for my success. I grew up in a very small town in Assam where we did not have much resources. But through the library, I was able to connect cross-culturally what's happening in America, what's happening in the Western world. And I used to write letters to people asking for their working papers. I tell you, one day I received a very strange letter from a professor in Dallas, Texas, saying, Professor Jain, some other professor forwarded my interest to him. And he wrote a 2-line letter to me saying, Dear Dipak, Professor Prakash Sethi forwarded your inquiry to me, and my inquiry was about a research paper which was not available in Indian libraries. And he said, Professor Prakash Sethi forwarded your inquiry to me. I wondered if you would be interested in doing a PhD at University of Texas at Dallas. If so, please send me your GMAT and TOEFL scores. I had been in Tejpur, Assam. I had never heard of these words, GMAT and TOEFL. I inquired. This were, I'm talking of 1982, done only twice a year in 1 or 2 cities. I wrote back to him that I don't have such access. I only have access to a library where I can have physical books. And so if you can send me a physical hard copy of your article, that would help. I got a letter in the mail saying you have been admitted to the PhD program. We at JIO Institute, through this library initiative, want our people to be culturally connected with the best academics and the best industry people. We want to create a culture of what I call inclusive work culture. Next, please. So what are our priorities for the JIO Institute? This 5-day program that you are seeing under the leadership of Shri Kumar and all his colleagues, our first part is to enhance global reputation of the JIO Institute. We want to have an institute that one day would have the same reputation as the top institutions that we see. That's why we are partnering with the best institutions in the world. Associate Provost Keller from Stanford University is helping us design this platform that I'm sure that generations would look at it and say, JIO Institute is not an institute, it's an academic Taj Mahal. This is what I think our chairperson, both Mr. and Mrs. Ambani, for them, JIO Institute is their way of giving back to Mother India that has made them so successful. For me personally, I attribute my success to my school teaching in Tejpur, Assam, then my college at Guwahati University. It's what I call the roots of education in India and the dedication of Indian parents that have made India a real source for education. Next. Designing innovative programs and lifelong learning modules. One purpose of JIO Institute is not just to create 10 departments or 5 departments and 6 schools and others. You may be joining JIO Institute for 2 years for a particular program, but we want you to be a lifelong learner. So our objective at JIO Institute is to design innovative programs, and lifelong learning modules need not be only physical, but it can be digital, and libraries become a very good source for people to keep aware of what's latest, what's happening in the world. That is to me and the third part is strengthening community engagement. Our chairperson, both Mr. Ambani and Mrs. Ambani said when they were thinking of the digital library platform, their vision is it's not only that we want students who come here, we want, I will just use the word 55,000 colleges, universities in India to be connected with us. We would like people to experience and have a feel for the latest knowledge that people can get by being where they are. That to me is the key. It's our library initiative is basically a 24/7 for people wherever they are, they can be connected. You may have heard that when we say this part, the brand for the JIO Institute would be India Essence Global Significance. Our roots are the Indian roots. I would use a word in Hindi called Hamare Bharatiya Sanskar. The India Essence to me, Hamare Sanskars, that is the core DNA. But we want global significance to me means making a difference in the world. When I was the Dean of Kellogg School, our brand essence was by joining the Kellogg School, you start your journey from success to significance. You have to be successful for you to make a difference in the world because your success is what would make people interested in what you are saying or doing. But we need to start the journey of significance while you are on the success platform, because the day you retire, you become from who's who to who's he. When I was the Dean of INSEAD, the brand of INSEAD was Business School for the World. I made it Business School for a Better World. We need to strengthen our community engagement. And for JIO, we think India Essence Global Significance is going to be a very key part of our initiative that we are trying to bring to the world. I grew up in a small town in Tejpur, Assam, studied in Hindi Bhasha Vidyalaya, never had access to any top institutions, but did have access to a district library in Tejpur and to the Guwahati University Library. That became a source for me to go spend time knowing what's happening in the world. In those days, there were no photocopying machines. I used to listen to the library and write from the books there. And today, never knew a day would come when I would get a chance and Shri Kumar would ask me to address all of you with respect to the great initiative he has undertaken, JIO Institute has undertaken, and of course, it's all because of the efforts of Mr. and Mrs. Ambani for their journey from success to significance. And of course, my colleague, Dr. Mashilkar and Pramod, Prerna and Palak. But let me just summarize in few words what I think is the essence of any institution in the world. I say reputation is JIO Institute's currency. Respect is going to be its legacy. when people would respect what we are doing and how we are doing and how we are making a difference in the lives of people whom we are going to touch either physically or digitally, that to me would be the day when we would reflect back and say, I was part of this institution when it was built. JIO Institute, to me, a metaphor that I use, JIO Institute would be the Taj Mahal of digital knowledge, digital learning for decades and centuries to come. Thank you all for including me. Mr. Kumar, I wish you all a great program ahead. And as I always have a saying that no challenge ahead of you is greater than the force behind you. Dipak Jain is always behind you, always behind JIO Institute, always behind Mother India. And let's all work together and take this institute to greater heights. To me, collaboration is the future of competition. So our duty is to work together and make something that we all can be proud of. Thank you.